the girl who refused to let the cold win. Fire does not always meet us with warmth. Sometimes it meets us with cold streets, empty hands, and nights that feel far too long. With thin shoes, with empty pockets, with streets too busy to notice small footsteps walking beside them. But strength does not always look loud. Sometimes it looks like a girl holding a box of matches and continuing forward anyway. Let me tell you about her. There was once a little girl who walked through a winter night, selling matches to anyone who might need light. The wind bit at her cheeks, and the snow settled into her sleeves. But she did not curse the cold. She had learned something important. If she could not control the weather, she could control her spirit. People passed her, not cruelly, not angrily, simply distracted. And here is the truth. Distraction can wound just as deeply as cruelty. But the girl did not allow the silence of others to define her value. She kept walking. That is strength. When no one stopped to buy her matches, she did not collapse into anger. She struck one. The flame flickered alive in her trembling hands. And in that small circle of light, she imagined warmth. Some say she was escaping reality, but I say she was creating it. She chose to see comfort even when none was offered. She chose to remember joy even when surrounded by indifference. That is not a weakness. That is resilience. With each match she lit, she did not surrender. She declared something quiet and powerful. You may not see me, but I still exist. She imagined a table filled with food. She imagined laughter. She imagined her grandmother's smile, not because she was foolish, but because she understood something the world often forgets. Light begins inside before it changes anything outside. And while the street kept moving, while doors opened and closed without noticing her, she refused to let the cold harden her heart. She could have grown bitter. She did not. She could have believed she was invisible. She did not. Instead, she held on to warmth in the only way she could. Here is where the story shifts. People say the tragedy is that she was alone, but the deeper tragedy is this. The world had an opportunity to be kind and chose not to notice. She did not fail that night. The street did. The city did. The adults who walked past a trembling child and thought, someone else will help, did. Strength does not always survive because it is weak. Sometimes it falls because others were too comfortable to stand up. And yet, even as the cold grew heavier, she did not lose her light. In the final flame, she saw her grandmother again, not as an escape, but as a reminder. She had been loved once. She had mattered once. And that truth did not disappear just because the street forgot it. When morning came, people said, "How tragic." They shook their heads. They wished it had been different. But wishing after the fact is not kindness. Kindness is noticing while someone still needs you. Her story is not about a fragile girl defeated by winter. It is about a strong girl who carried warmth longer than the world deserved. It is about a child who kept imagining goodness even when surrounded by indifference. It is about how easy it is to walk past suffering when it does not interrupt our comfort. And perhaps most importantly, it is about how the world does not collapse because one child is cold, but it does diminish itself. The night did not break her spirit. The world broke its own promise. So if you hear her story and feel something stir inside you, that is not guilt, it's responsibility, because strength should not have to fight alone. And sometimes the greatest tragedy is not that someone suffered, but that we had the chance to make it lighter and kept walking instead.